You are not flinching at any question I give you. I love it. Did you see the questions that we sent over before?
I glanced at them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I threw a joker in there. I don't know if you saw it. What's your favorite thing about BYU at the bottom?
That'll probably be a quick little line right there.
I'm not going to ask you. Don't worry.
You can ask me.
I mean, I still can. What's your favorite thing about BYU?
Nothing.
I'm not going to lie. We're just going to get this out of the way. I'm a BYU fan.
Oh. Don't tell him.
I have to tell him. I'm nothing.
Is one of the most diehard Utah guys. So
I'm nothing
Utah
if I'm not honest. It is true. I did pray really hard on January 1st.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Just because it would make her relationship smoother.
Yeah, of course. You don't want him mad for the whole year.
Heavens no. Are you kidding me? The problem is, this is the issue I have, Cam. Every year my husband comes to me and says, this is the last time that ESPN is ever going to come to game day at the University of Utah. You know how many times he said that to me now? A few.
Yeah.
And then, around like September-ish, he's like, this is maybe the only time University of Utah will ever have a chance to go to the Rose Bowl. What are you guys predicted to do this year?
Well, predictions don't really matter. We got to go out there and do it.
You're right. But what I'm saying is you're making my life really hard because you guys are so good lately.
I'm not sorry about that.
You don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to be sorry. But I do just have a few like quick fire questions I want to send your way. Yeah. Although, I love it when the team down south wins too. I do root for Utah. Go Utes is a common phrase in my household. Unfortunately, our 3 kids are leaning to the red side, the dark side.
That's great.
So speaking of the dark side, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
Ooh. Oh, man, that's Obi-Wan probably, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I can see that in you. So Star Wars or Harry Potter?
Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, even over Harry.
Yep.
And Lord Voldemort and all that? Okay.
I've only watched the movies once through.
You didn't read the books. You were out playing football growing up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Favorite music right now, Cam? What are you listening to?
R&B. I like.
All right.
Yeah, soulful music, kind of a little old school going in there.
I love that.
Teddy Pendergrass, if you know who that is.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my husband is not only a Utah fan, but an R&B fan.
Awesome.
So I do know.
Sounds like a great man.
He is really great. And he would be here today if he wasn't out of the state for work. So another question I have for you. In the commercial that you're in, all gas, no brakes, whose truck are you driving?
Coach Witts.
Coach Witts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
1972.
So it's sweet.
I love it. It was amazing. Thank God it wasn't stick. I didn't have to worry about all that.
Okay. Good
no
deal.
stalling or nothing.
I love that.
Yeah.
As we're thinking about the future here, which as a football player and quarterback, you always have to do. Favorite pro team if you get the opportunity?
I grew up going to Cowboys training camp. They actually only train about 15 minutes away from my house in Oxnard, California, and just a diehard fan of the Cowboys.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know they got Dak Prescott, so probably not realistic, but yeah.
Awesome. Who's your favorite NFL player right now?
Tom Brady. Just Mr. Perfect,
The GOAT, yeah.
Exactly. What can he do?
Fair enough. You just came off of the Manning Academy, right? What was that like?
That was unbelievable. Just the amount of knowledge that Peyton and Eli have and the amount of attention to detail that they pay with each and every kind of time they talked to us and gave us every insight was just amazing to see, and kind of just made me realize that I got a long way to go to even get close to that level, and just looking forward to trying to reach those guys and hopefully win a Super Bowl like they did.
Awesome.
One day. Yeah.
There are a few, right?
There are quite a few in that family. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the last official football game you played, right, was the Rose Bowl, which ended all happy and awesome. But, right, you're kind of shaking your head. What have you learned about coming back from an injury?
just that it takes time and that you have to trust the process, and there's no shortcuts really. You have to lay out the plan and you have to stick to the plan. You know, whether you're feeling good and think you can do more, you have to stay within your parameters and make sure that you're doing your due diligence in that situation to cover all aspects so that you're ready to go once you get that opportunity to come back in.
Okay, love that. One thing that I grew up on was a family full of sports players, right? And one thing that I learned from all of my coaches too was how much sports really is a life lesson.
It is,
right? In playing those. So last year, a little bit after this time, not quite a year ago, you lost the starting position to Brewer. How did you stay motivated after that? Obviously, it ended well for you, but what did that look like in between that time?
I just looked at it as an opportunity to get better in some aspect, whether that's leading from behind and not taking those first reps, whether it's going out there and saying, oh, this is what you need to do to make sure that this play is perfect, and kind of just taking that back seat and trying to figure out another way to become better so that the team is working efficiently as possible.
Awesome. Well, you clearly have done that well. What motivates you, though, to get better? When Cam wakes up every day, what are you like, yes, let's get after it because of why?
My team. I mean, okay. I want to be the best possible player for my teammates. I want to make sure that we're going to be in the best situation to win as many games as possible. And, yeah, just to make sure that they have their full trust in me and I have my full trust in them in that situation.
Okay. So speaking of full trust, there's one play last year that I just have to ask you about. The USC game when the flea flicker accidentally happened and it was the turning point for the rest of the game.
Yep.
Why did it accidentally happen? And tell me a little bit about your thought process through all of that.
So throughout the week, I wasn't even supposed to run the play. It was actually supposed to be our backup quarterback comes in the game, and they called wristband 44. But my backup quarterback, who was signaling at the time, told me wristband 44, and I knew that wristband number 4 was the flea flicker, and eyes got wide, and I kind of didn't hear that second 4 because I was trying to go score a touchdown in that situation, and I thought Coach Witt was trying to take a shot at the end zone rather than just go try and get the first down and really surprise them in that situation, and called the timeout. Came off to the sideline and they said, let's go for it. And
awesome.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
I mean, huge win against USC in a long streak of not winning against USC.
108 years since the last one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Maybe on a lighter note, are you still okay with the nickname Thick Boy 7?
Yeah, it's no problems. I actually just got to meet the creators of that this past weekend at the golf tournament.
Oh, cool.
It was a great time.
Okay, so for those maybe that aren't familiar with why you have that nickname, do you want to just give us a brief synopsis and then tell us where we can get the merch?
Kind of, they said it was from my legs. They saw a picture of me and they said that I looked like I was pretty sturdy and my legs are kind of thicker. So that's where that name Thick Boy kind of came from. And yeah, they didn't want to just call me Thick Boy, so they added the 7 in there. That's what they said. And yeah, and you can find all my merch on my website. I'm going to actually be posting it pretty soon on Twitter and Instagram. So it'll be up soon. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. All your teammates thought that was indeed your Twitter handle. Did they not?
Yeah. Some of them were actually following a new account that was being created. But yeah, I had to let them know that still Steve Rising 7 up on there.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me how it feels when you're playing in Rice-Eccles Stadium at full capacity and you execute that perfect play.
There's just an energy that's unmatched, and you just feel each and every person just screaming at the top of their lungs, except for that little section in the corner where it's usually the opposing team, and you see them all sad, but it's unbelievable. I love looking at the Musts and just seeing them be rowdy up there, and it's just an amazing experience, and it's hard to explain, really. Just you kind of just have to experience it and see it on the field for yourself.
I love it.
Yeah.
When it comes to stadiums, aside from Rice Eccles, obviously, which I'm assuming is your favorite place to play, what's your next favorite stadium you've played in?
It's probably a tie. Allegiant was an amazing experience. Just going in there and kind of having the same feel as a home game, just because we had so many Utah fans, and having that sea of red in there and having the indoor made it that much louder. So that was an amazing experience. And then I kind of look back at my time at Texas and just DKR, their stadium over there. That was an experience there as well.
So speaking of Texas, how was that transition? I mean, you grew up in California, played at Texas, now Utah? Like why on earth did that happen? And how did that transition go?
It was a little culture shock when I first got here. Just like getting used to a lot of things not being open on Sunday, and things are usually shutting down a little earlier than I'm used to. But it was good, and I love being here, and it's made me appreciate more being outside and going outdoors. And I love golfing. That's my favorite pastime right now, and this is the perfect place to go golfing.
Okay, so golf is your favorite pastime. Right, so are you Titleist? Like, where do you lean?
I actually have a deal with TaylorMade, and
okay.
I got some clubs, and I stick with the TaylorMade.
I love that. Okay, awesome. So, again, going back to your time, other places, and maybe looking at some opportunity for other players, what does the transfer portal mean to you?
It just means giving players the options. You look at coaches; they get up and leave whenever they have a better opportunity. And if a player seems that there's a better opportunity out there, then they could take advantage of it. And it just kind of equals that balance of power that the coaches have over the players, and gives the players a little bit way to fighting back the big guys,
Yeah, I love that. Well, and speaking of players fighting back a little bit, and your deal with TaylorMade, and the whole reason why you're here today, NIL agreements, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on NIL agreements? How have they changed maybe the environment of the locker room or the game in general, or just your vision of opportunity for athletes for the future?
I mean, as of right now, the opportunities are endless, and kind of you can go out there and do whatever you want, but you can't just commit to everything, just because you do have to understand that you have to still put in the time and make sure that you're still working to get that. And I don't think it's changed too much, just that guys are able to make some money off their likeness, and kind of just giving guys the opportunity to make that money that they probably deserve in a lot of situations. And just paying it forward and making sure that guys aren't just struggling all the time. So it's been very beneficial, and at least on our team, we've been able to stay connected, and no one's pointing fingers, no one's getting mad at each other. There's been no serious issues involving it, and we love each other, and we treat each other as a team, and so we keep that good mentality when it comes to that.
I love that. Yeah. Do you feel like having these relaxed rules from the NCAA now is preparing you more for when you go pro?
Absolutely. Yeah, you get the opportunity to see what it's like to be a pro, and now you have to manage money and really focus on doing your taxes and stuff. That's stuff that before we never even really had to think about until we got there, and that's why I think NIL does help us in that opportunity, because we do have to learn how to make sure that we're smart with our money and smart with our decisions, and not just out there doing dumb stuff. And it'll be beneficial to any player that goes to the next level, because they already have an idea and a sense of what's going on. I know a lot of guys have struggled with that in the past, and it's not easy when you're 22 years old and you get millions of dollars in your bank account, and you start to get that sense of I can do whatever I want, and it's not really the mentality you should go in with that type of money on the line. Yeah,
absolutely. And I love that you bring that up. Obviously, as Mountain America, we're all about financial education, no doubt. Right? And one of the big reasons why we wanted to partner with you, right, was because you're able to be that voice for a lot of people your age that might not be, I mean, FinEd is not taught in schools enough, right? We all know that. So coming off of that, what what are some of the things maybe that you've learned, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the group, and maybe what some financial advice that you have for other kids your age? If I can call you a kid, I don't know.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. The first thing I do whenever I get money, I put 50% of it away. I know taxes are not 50%, but I just always want to make sure I'm covering every aspect. If I need extra, I have it in my account. It's there for it. And just make sure that you always take that into consideration first, I think, because you can kind of lose that if you're not focusing on it. And yeah, you can't, just because you got it doesn't mean you have to spend it in those situations. And that's kind of how I'm going through it right now. And it's been nice having our meetings and stuff with you guys, and you guys have been able to really teach me about kind of picking and choosing where to spend my money and how to be most efficient when it comes to going out and doing whatever I need to do.
Awesome.
So yeah, I've been leaning on you guys with that as it comes to that.
Awesome. Yeah. And we appreciate that too.
Absolutely.
Back to football though, because that's why we're really all here, right? What's your favorite uniform combination? Or as I maybe should say, what's your favorite fit? I feel like that's what kids call it now, right?
I'm okay with uniform, but yeah, you can call it fit if you want. That's tough. I mean, our Salt Lake City, the USSS Salt Lake City, that was
mind blowing. Those helmets,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The attention to detail they gave with that was amazing. And also another, probably one of my favorite outfits or fits, whatever you want to call it, uniform, is 2019 when we did the hand painting helmets and went back with the throwback uniforms.
Yeah.
The silver, red and silver. I thought that was just a great look, and I wouldn't mind seeing that make a comeback.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully the right people are listening.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Cody, you hear that?
When you make it to the NFL, what's the first big thing you're going to buy?
Ooh, I don't know. That's tough. Something I guess we'll just have to find out when we get there.
Okay. All right. Be sure to let us know. Yeah. Hopefully we'll help you make that decision.
Maybe a Traeger or something that I'm probably be cooking on.
Yeah. A Traeger. I love that. I love that. How confident is Cam Rising leading into this season?
I pretty much it just comes when I go on the field and just have that confidence and really don't focus on that outcome. So I'm just ready to go out there and make some plays and whatever happens. And I just have the full faith in my team. So the confidence is there from that standpoint. And yeah, I guess I really haven't thought of it from a personal standpoint of confidence, but yeah, I'm very confident in the team and everything as it pertains to that.
Okay. Love that. Speaking of the team, what does the team need to do to be ready come September 3rd?
Well, we had a good spring, and now it's all about making sure that we continue a productive summer, and that's going to lead to a great fall. So we have to just keep being efficient with what we're doing, making sure that we're not leaving a stone unturned, and just checking every little box that we can to be successful. And that's going to come with just paying our dues and really trusting the process that Coach Witt and Coach LSI, our strength coach, has laid out for us in this situation.
Okay, love that. Who's the funniest guy on the team?
Oh, that's tough. There's a lot of comedians on the team.
Yeah, a lot of jokesters.
Oh, and it rolls deep. I think the O-line has probably some of the funniest people in there.
Okay.
Gosh, that's tough. I'd say Devin Kafusi. He's hilarious. He'll do something crazy, and even just during fall camp he did some funny stuff for our little show that we have to give for any new players on the team. And yeah, I'll probably say Devin Kafusi in that.
Okay, fair enough.
Sure.
I mean, he has you laughing right now, so he's got to be pretty funny.
Just thinking about all the stories that
I love
that are out there. Yeah.
So thinking of the team as well, who's going to be the breakout player from Utah this year?
Ooh. I'd say Lander Barton. I think he's a great playmaker in there, and he's young, and he's gonna get some good reps in there, and he's flying around, and he looks just as good as his brother, I think, his freshman year. So I'm looking forward to seeing him go out there and make some plays.
I love that.
Yeah.
So athletes then, growing up, who is your role model?
My favorite player was Kobe. And from basketball standpoint, and then actually from a football standpoint, it was Tony Romo, just because diehard Cowboys fan.
Yeah, Dallas totally makes sense.
No doubt.
Okay, love that. Who are your main influences in choosing football?
My dad was actually a big part of it. He got me to play quarterback kind of going into 8th grade and really wanted me to work at it, and kind of always had that vision that he thought I could be a successful quarterback. And he led me down this road and kind of showed me the way, and I just kind of took it and ran with it.
Literally,
been treating me well so far. Yeah.
Awesome. So who's your biggest support system through all of this?
My family. They're always there. They're always my rock. And I've been, and my girlfriend as well. She's been there for me throughout this whole entire process these past few years. So it's been good.
Awesome. Any plans moving forward that we need to know about with girlfriend or?
Nothing too groundbreaking.
Okay.
Yeah, not there yet.
We have to get you to blush at some point in this, right? So another question for you. When you're playing at Texas and it came to choosing Utah, what was the biggest factor in that choice?
Kyle Whittingham. He brings that sense of you know who your head coach is going to be, and that is something that I think is invaluable when it comes to college. Just because, as you see now, you can look at a lot of teams, and Oregon was my other choice right there, and I never really had faith that they would have the same offensive coordinator, the same head coach potentially when my time is up, and just having that sense of security there with your coaches, because you want to know who's coaching you, you want to know how they're coaching you, and you want them to be the guys that recruited you and brought you in. And I just knew that Coach Witt was going to be there, and I knew that he was going to have the best possible staff that he can bring to the table. So it made sense coming here.
Love that. Why do you think people, or players I should say, should consider playing at Utah?
Just the brand of football that we play. I firmly believe that it's the right way, and that it's all about being tough. It's all about being physical and just kind of asserting your dominance, and really just always applying all gas, no brakes, like in that commercial. That's really what we preach and we practice each and every day. And so props to Coach Witt right there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Coach Witt, Coach Whittingham has publicly praised you for your leadership, right? Several times. So what does that mean to you? And then also, what does it mean to you to be a leader of this football team, if not the leader?
I mean, I think first and foremost, when it comes to being a leader, I think you have to handle your 20 square feet and make sure that you're doing everything that you can possibly do, and staying in the training room, staying in the film room, and just showing everybody that you're putting in the work, that you're doing your due diligence to be a better player. And once you do that, then you can lead and actually tell people, hey, we got to come do this because it's going to make us better at this. And if you need to get in a heated situation, that you can be heated, because they're not going to question whether you were working or you were just sitting down at home playing video games or something. So you got to just make sure that you're handling that 20 square feet, and the rest kind of handles itself with that.
I love that. Do you like playing video games? Speaking of video games?
I'll play them sometimes, but nothing too crazy. Yeah.
Fair enough. What's the best piece of advice that you've received from Coach Whittingham, maybe on or off the field?
Kind of, you can take it definitely the different ways, but no one cares about the excuses that you have to make. I think that's one thing that really stuck with me ever since I got on campus. He says no one cares how you're feeling, no one cares what's going on. Like, it's when you come out here, it's all about football, and that's just kind of a part of it. And it sucks to say that not everyone's gonna really be like, oh, he had a bad day. Like, let's cut him some slack right here. That's just not the way life works. And once you kind of understand that, you understand that you just have to keep it pushing and keep going. And no matter what the situation is, it's not going to be easy, and especially with some of the stuff we had to go through during the season. But yeah, you're not gonna get over the situation, but you're gonna get through it.
Yeah. One question I have for you, because I can't imagine the pressure that you feel being a student athlete, not only a student athlete, but I mean, your name's in all the headlines, right? Maybe Heisman, you're at the Painting Academy, all of these different things. How do you handle all of that pressure from a mental standpoint, and what do you do to maybe stay grounded?
Well, I like to look at the black and white, and what I like to call all that is that's the gray in between that can get you caught up and really make you not keep the main thing. And at the end of the day, I got to go out there and prove it. It doesn't matter whether they're telling us that we should win a national championship right now, because we have to go out there and do it at the end of the day. And it only comes down to what happens during fall, and that's why I don't really care about all that, all the headlines or none of that. Just want to take my opportunities that I can improve, and like any situation that is a learning opportunity, make sure that I'm taking advantage of it and just focusing on everything that's going on in the house over there at the facility. Okay,
love that. What's the best piece of financial advice you've ever received?
Well, if you got to, somebody said if you got to use credit, then you probably shouldn't be buying it, and that's something that definitely just has sat well with me and makes me think, oh, okay, I probably shouldn't go buy a pair of Jordans and I can get a pair of Vans for a lot cheaper or something like that. Just knowing when to pick and choose your battles and being smart in those decision making right there.
I love that. If the majority of us as Americans would follow your advice, we'd probably be in a much better spot than we are now.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I love that.
Not saying I'm perfect with it by any means, but
none of us are. None of us are. Several Utah fans may disagree, though.
Of course,
you're pretty top notch. Kind of in closing here, Cam, what are your thoughts on? Or what do you have to say to all those huge fans out there that, made the trip to Pasadena, want to make the trip again, they're season ticket holders, and they just are so stoked for this new season? What do you want to say to all of them?
Just that we're all excited, just like you are, to get going, and just we're itching to get back out there, and can't wait to have the whole Rice Eagles rocking again, and can't wait for everything that's to come.
Love it.
Yeah.
If you couldn't play football or basketball, what would you be doing?
I'd still probably want to be involved with sports somehow. I love sports, and just being around athletes and being around people and just getting to experience new situations and learn from people. Because like you said earlier, sports and football, and they teach you life lessons that can stick with you. And I just want to be part of that team kind of aspect. That'd be something, whether volleyball, golf, it wouldn't matter to me, just any type of sport.
Okay, love it. Well, hopefully you can, we'll follow you around Mountain America with your tailor-made clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Right, in the off season.
Yep.
But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate everything.